This video tutorial will cover access to VLABs. VLABs is the online web-based virtual lab environment for the CYS 526 and 4026 cyber attacks and defense courses. To get things started, you don't need to install additional software typically. Most of the requirements are embedded into modern day browsers. For the purpose of the presentation, I'm actually using Firefox. You're welcome to use Chrome. The site that we need to navigate to is https://vlab.excelsior.edu. You're required to have a reliable internet connection. There's different ways to access the interface, and that's using Flash or HTML5. Please note that some of the functionality within HTML5 is still experimental and not as complete. So what we need to do is we can actually go in and use the web client Flash. And this site, you actually see the username and password. Now, there may be a different method for accessing. You may be provided a link directly within the module and assignment. This is showing the method used by the instructor at the time of creation of the labs. So at this point, you need to enter the provided username and password if there isn't a single sign-on. Alright, so the next screen, you'll be able to see nothing. We need to either click in to allow Flash to run, or right-click and activate this plugin. You right-click and activate, then you allow, and now you're going to see the loading of VMware. Now, my access will differ from your access. As a learner, you're not going to have as much permission to navigate the environment and modify it. What you will see perhaps is, coming into the VMs and templates, student lab, and you're going to have a folder for your respective course. This video is designed specifically for CYS 526 or 426. So you're going to come in here, and likely you're going to have a folder with your name or URL specific for the VMs you have access to. Now I'm going to go in and use the test environment to showcase what that looks like. It looks like I don't actually have a lot of machines here. Let's go into the in progress. So you're going to notice that you have an attacker VM and then two targets. One is Metasploitable 2, which is our Linux target, and the second one is Windows Server 2016. To evaluate these two targets for discovering attack surface like open port, running service, known weaknesses, and taking advantage of them, we'll use Kali. Now, these virtual machines are currently powered off. What we can do is we can right-click the virtual machine, and we can open the console. If we try to do the open the console, we're going to get an error message. So before we can actually open the console and interact with the system, we'll need to power it on. Okay, so to power it on, we will need to go into guest OS, the power, and then power on. Okay. The other method to power on a particular virtual machine is select it and look on the right hand side, use the menu, and then click power on. Okay. So again, you can right click and go to power, or you can go on the right hand side, hover over the menu here, and click on the play button. So now, if you refresh the browser, you should be able to see the interface for the particular virtual machine. It looks like the interface is starting up. The username and password for the attacker machine. So for Kali, the username is root and the password is Tor. For the Windows Server 2016, the user is administrator and the password is case sensitive. For the Metasploitable, the user is MSF admin and the pass is MSF admin. Okay, so we type in root Tor, and this will let us get into the environment. So how do we interact with the Metasploitable? Once we see that it's powered on, power on the last target. Once it's powered on, we right click on it, we go into Open Console. This will open up a new tab. The Metasploitable target, it's only command line interface. If you notice, Kali is Linux based, but it's a graphical user interface. We have mouse and point and click. Now if you notice for Kali, the screen is kind of skewed. So we can go in the left hand side and click View Full Screen. This will make it a little bit bigger and scaled for the resolution of the screen that we have. Now how do you get out of this? You move the mouse to the top of the screen and you'll see this menu flying out. You can click Exit. Or if you view full screen, you can hit Escape on your keyboard. So press Escape on your keyboard. So for this, we can also go into full screen and it looks a little bit bigger. It's not as skewed. So we need to left click inside and notice that there is no cursor. I'm actually moving my cursor in, but it doesn't show because we don't have a mouse. It's only command line interface, keyboard driven. MSF admin, notice I'm typing in the password. I already typed it in. There's nothing displaying in the password at the bottom. See if you can see kind of the mouse moving here. See the mouse, I already typed in password, but there's nothing displaying. Right, enter, I already logged in. In Linux command line interface, especially some of these outdated Linux versions, you're not going to see a progress like we're typing something when there's a password. It's obfuscated. So we logged into Kali, we logged into the Metasploitable 2 target. The last component is to make sure we can sign into the Windows one. So right click, we started it, Open Console. We'll see the screen in front of us. To go into the Windows operating system, you need to send Control-Alt-Delete. At this point, you're going to go in and see the actual password. Now, when you're typing in, I noticed that there is an issue with the interpreter, so Flash or whatever the plugin is. And as you type in a character, it may be shown that you typed it in twice, even though you didn't. So one thing to do is you can try to copy and see if you can paste directly. And we don't have interaction with the virtual machine. So they're locked down in a way that doesn't allow us to copy and paste from the environment or to the environment. So what do we do then? Well, we have to pay attention. So I'm going to type in E, and I know that it shows one character, so that took it. X, you see how it showed twice? So I need to go back and I delete one of the characters. So I typed in, pressed X, and it showed that I typed it in twice, and that's not correct. It's only once. E, L, now the C was typed in twice. And then the rest of the characters showed in. So make sure that you typed it in correctly. So click on the little eye icon and it will reveal what you typed in. And then it looks like I didn't pay attention. Okay, let's do this again. There it is. So even for myself, it took me a couple times. So let's showcase what actually is happening. I'm going to go into full screen. And at this time, it's the environment. I don't have a fix for this. I hope our colleagues in IT can figure out a way to address this, maybe with some browser updates, or perhaps with updates to the ESXi environment. It will work out. You may try the HTML5 version, and that may have a better success. So if I was to open up Notepad, see what happens. That's what's happening here. You see how I type in fairly quick, and these characters showing as a typed in twice. It's not accurate. It was only once. So the other thing you can do is you can use on-screen keyboard when you're trying to do things, and this will take it in a lot better. So you don't have to retype, especially when you're dealing with passwords and stuff. And the way I did this, I clicked on the Start menu, and then I selected on-screen keyboard. Now notice that as soon as you logged into the Windows 2016 target, you see a screen like this. Just minimize it. This will make sense as we're going through the weekly activities. So don't close it, minimize it. If you accidentally close it, don't worry. There is a scheduled task that will open this window every few minutes automatically. And this concludes the tutorial. So we covered how to access the VLAB virtual lab environment for Excelsior College, CYS 426-526. We covered how to power on the different virtual machines provided within your environment. Open the console to interact with those virtual machines. And then we signed in into individual virtual machine.